Hello, Pretty Storytellers. Welcome to Pretty Stories, and I know it's awkward since I literally just pop up my old SpongeBob plush that I had when I was a kid, and like even the broken arm thing that my mom tried to like sew thanks to my Gigi RIP. If you guys watched the AI challenge one, you know that she passed away, but like my mom sort of like tried her best to like sew his arm back together. Oh, both arms. I didn't even realize both of his arms were attached or disattached. I don't know what that was, but nah, this one looks more if you couldn't tell. So yeah, if you guys can't tell what the topic is, which I mean, just based on the title itself, you guys all know the news that broke into me. What I was trying to say, that I really don't know my words, that sort of like came to my attention. That's it. So, just to give you some quick background information, I am autistic. If you guys don't know, I have spent my entire life on the autism spectrum as highly functioning, and I was diagnosed with autism when I was 3 years old by a neurologist. Like, I even put my mom's, like, when for a project in psychology, I put my mom's sweet post in the comment, no, what's it called? The community post. Yes, I did that, and I learned that I was diagnosed with high functioning autism when I was 3 years old. And so, as of today, I am usually introverted and tend to prefer being by myself, and I act really shy and socially awkward around people. Like, I don't really talk that much. Like, I've probably said this many of times that people who know me in real life know that I don't talk that much. And throughout my forever love of storytelling that I discovered when I was 7 years old, when I got my notebook for my 7th birthday, like, ever since my newly found, I mean, no, not ever since during like the process of my many times working on stories throughout my entire life, like as a kid from today, I decided to like implant neurodiversity within my stories and also support neurodiversity as a whole, which I have brought my shirt upstairs, which I forgot my shirt that I got for Autism Acceptance Month from, was it, like, it was a year ago, yes. The two most prominent stories of mine as of today, like dream stories that I wish would get published sometime. Okay, the two most prominent stories that has more of a neurodiversity, that has a prominent neurodiversity themes within them, is only two stories, which one is She Came a Long Way, which is a college story with an autistic protagonist who is mute, and also just to add more diversity, she is a black Japanese biracial character named Kuwashi, and Glass Bottom Boat, which has a much more prominent neurodiversity theme as the symbolism of the title itself. I see it as represented to like seeing what goes deeper beyond the surface. Like that's the whole purpose of the Glass Bottom Boat with towards a younger audience, since the main character, like, it mainly focuses on like a bunch of like preschool age kids, as the main character, the autistic main character, Empathy, is 4 years old. And I expect these kids to be like between the ages of 4 and 6, as I already explained it, with a beautiful friendship with a sweet and curious boy named Wise, and then along with the other kids with how could I forget any of these kids? Nico has a prosthetic arm due to Empathy like biting his arm off, which is like a reference to what I done to like, it's a sort of a self-insert to like a similar situation, since like this actual boy named Nico, like he's based off a real kid that I know in kindergarten. So he has a prosthetic arm, just to like dramatize the whole thing, the whole situation. And then Wyatt, he is an albino kid, and then Zazy is a like sort of like SpongeBob, where he's like sort of like this funny comic relief, but she she has ADHD, and so like she's sort of like SpongeBob, like if SpongeBob was autistic, which we'll get to that. Like Zazy is just like, you can't tell by the name Zazy itself. She's like this comic relief character who like knows she has ADHD, and like she's proud of it. Oh yeah, and Alyssa too, who is the most unproblematic character on purpose, since she's like giving out great advice to others and is hyper feminine and shows positivity to people who are feminine as opposed to toxic femininity. Like she's like positive, healthy femininity type, since we need more good representation of girly goals. And there are other cases, such as in both of my fantasy fairy stories, Field of Crystal Ball and Mystiques, which you'll learn about in a video coming up soon. Both of those stories where there is an autistic or neurodivergent lead character, but that's not really the most prominent thing about the story, as well as there are many other themes outside of neurodiversity that are the more prominent focus apart from just having autistic leads. So yeah, it's either one of those cases or an autistic coded lead in Escape the Story of Lighthouse Village, where this lead character Tilapia is sort of autistic coded. Like I never really planned for her to be autistic, but since she's like a sort of self-insert character of myself, then I'm just like sort of like pulling parallel either or, since like once again now diversity isn't really the most prominent theme of that story, but like I still like, just to give a compromise, Tilapia is autistic coded, just so my decision like it still needs to be made about that. But in the fantasy stories, yes, the lead characters are neurodivergent, but that's not the most prominent thing about those stories in general, as there are other themes as well. And then there are, oh, you see, I like to play with my necklace. Okay, another thing. Okay, there are other cases like Mythos of the Haunted Hayride and the Family Video Movie Club where they don't focus on neurodiversity. I mean, one does, but it's not autism, it's cerebral palsy. And so that makes it hard for me to relate to the main protagonist if they don't have any autistic features like the rest of my main characters. And but I still like them in general, and so yeah, that's basically it. And so back on the news, since I'm a little bit off topic there, I forgot about our little sponge body over here that has two broken arms. So it all started with a post that my mom sent it about Tom Kenny saying that SpongeBob was autistic, which at first I sort of misread it as Tom Kenny being autistic, and I still plan to like do this entire video, but instead I was gonna bring up the fact that I used to talk about Tom Kenny back when I done my Talking Tom analysis, and back when I used to place his character Hank for being the saving grace of Talking Tom and Friends. Like, if you guys wondering how I feel about this show right now, since it got canceled, what's it called, canceled, or it ended in 2019, I think, or 2021, I forgot. Um, like, I guess most of it was either my nostalgia talking about the old Talking Friends, if you guys forgot. Like, I'm sorry, I have a huge nostalgia spot for the Talking Tom franchise, which is why I don't really like the new versions. I would always tease the fact that Hank deserves a better show back at the time, since like Tom Kenny even says it himself that Hank is like this nice and stupid character and the most nicest character in the show and the most tolerable one out of the bunch. I mean, no, that's me. That's me saying that, not Tom Kenny. All he said was that he's just this nice and stupid character, as I can remember. The rest is just for me, since I like his character too. And how he basically has to show off his inner Patrick to get that role. I also joke about that too. And I even thought of doing a rewrite. Like, it was from a year ago. Like, I still have the script, which I didn't finish. It was from a year ago where I thought of doing, like, should it be a rewrite or a continuation of the Talking Angela game, like back in the Talking Friends canon, since I have a huge nostalgia for that. And I wish they could have like still done the Talking Friends thing instead of like consider like not the new Talking Tom and Friends, like the new stuff with toilet humor and de-aging everyone despite Ginger being a kid. Yeah, I don't follow do all of that anymore. And I always thought how if it wasn't for my autism and going to my elementary school speech class, what's it called, like speech pathologist, is that what it's called, my speech therapy class, then I wouldn't have known about Talking Friends from the first place. I mean, I would have known about Talking Tom and Friends from the ugly advertisement and stuff, but I wouldn't know about the genuine like nostalgia Talking Friends from the beginning. As how old was I? I forgot, like probably 7 or 6, between that. If it wasn't for my speech therapist giving us like the kids her tablet to play the back when we to play Talking Tom 2. Yeah, we always played that game at that class. And I sort of implanted the unique needs aspect within the rewrite of what I plan to do when I make a story based on the Talking Friends canon, but So far, I still haven't finished the script. It's been a year and I still haven't gotten into it yet. The Talking Friends canon, which includes the first introduction of Hank, since once again, he deserves a better show, period. And Tom Kenny deserves better in the Talking Tom and Friends universe. And so at first that's what I thought. And so I was gonna bring up that story, which I sort of kinda did in that long runtime. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. And so I read more thoroughly, and well, I learned that it wasn't Tom Kenny who know they were diagnosed with autism, which that was what I thought at first when I read it, and I really gave you that claim, but nah, I looked more into it since it was sort of get more unfamiliar with me, but then I learned that it was Tom Kenny saying that SpongeBob was autistic in an interview of some sort. Now, I am familiar with SpongeBob being classified as other minorities, such as, if I can remember, the creator saying that SpongeBob is asexual, given that actual sea sponge, and he was a marine biologist, RIP to Stephen Hillenburg, that he was a marine biologist, and sea sponge are actually asexual, so SpongeBob is asexual, or as I can remember Nickelodeon marketing him off as Nickelodeon marketing him off as in Pride Month as gay, like he was alongside other LGBT icons of Nickelodeon, such as Korra from The Legend of Korra, and some guy from Henry Danger, since I don't watch Henry Danger, so I don't know who that guy is, but if you guys see the Nickelodeon Pride Month post, then you guys all know what I'm talking about. And so, similar to what I said about trans coding in the Wings Club franchise, if you haven't watched my Wings Club and Autistic Coding video advertisement, I said that the LGBT community is not really in my place, since for my entire life, I did not really fall into that type of category as I think of, since I'm still pretty, I always like to describe myself as bi-curious, which is not what my parents like to hear about, but I don't really have a romantic life in general, so I mean I am attracted to guys, but for goals I tend to sort of like to tease about my attention to goals, but at the same time I'm just am I mostly just queer? Is that it? So I honestly feel like it's not in my place to speak about the LGBT community, and so when it comes to SpongeBob being asexual or gay, then I feel like that is not really in my place to say about this. So, but when it comes to SpongeBob, when his voice actor now considers him to be autistic, yeah, we're gonna sit here and talk about this, since I really love his approach to saying that it is his superpower, despite what I learned in my critical disability studies back in my university. I picked up the term inspirational. What did I used to call it? Since the P word is inappropriate, so the inspirational. I forgot what word I tried to use instead of it, but it was invented by Stella Young. That's all I'm gonna say. Well, people would use disability as a term to make it seem as if they are inspirational for trying to go throughout these hardships in their lives, when they're actually just normal people. And especially when it comes to the term of autistic coding, headcanoning, let's say headcanoning the characters that's autistic will just make them seem as just this more important person and more inspirational with how they go through their everyday lives, where they're just like everybody else, and there is basically not really that much of a difference, but they try to point it as them being inspirational when they're just like every other human being. And so I know that Tom Kenny is a great guy and I love him as Hank, but it's just what I had learned within my critical disability studies of this kind of term. And so I still like his approach and I definitely admire it, but we still got to know about these certain features within the spectrum. And in that same claim, I already brought up the story of, let's say, a person of, well, not really just a person, but mostly an entire fan base, but let's just say this person from a typical fan base, I just want to bring up the story of, let's say that an entire fan base, including that one person, despised me, but then once they said that I am autistic, then that person wants to be my friend, and the entire family. Like some people might be icky about me, but like especially this one person who claims that she wants to be my friend, and I am giving off mixed feelings. Like, does she want to be my friend because I am autistic? Since like before she was criticizing on me, but now she wants to be my friend. And like, thank goodness this isn't real life. I thank goodness this is all virtual, since I sort of like it's been a few months since I have a hard time deciding this. And if she's watching, then like if she knows who she is, then hi. And so with SpongeBob, this little buddy over here being autistic, is like the most claim, like as I read from the article, is that he is obsessed with his job and he easily gets deep into any situation, and he gets deep into any, like similar to what I do with my analysis within the most smallest details. Like he gets into the most deepest interests, like such as jellyfishing. And oh yeah, of course his job, of course, that's all I already mentioned. He gets really deep into these kinds of things that he's fixated in. Not to mention some of the meltdowns and screeches that like many people who don't know who are unfamiliar with autism like to joke us, like of course the silent beam at the victory screech. Like I can already predict this is gonna happen once people who are unfamiliar with the spectrum are gonna hear about this news of what I meant. And then there was also this claim that Nickelodeon as a home can appeal to autistic kids as well, which I mean, I'm on the autism spectrum, and I remember me and my sister isn't autistic, but still, like back when we used to like watch SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents, like back at those decades, like yeah, I was into Nickelodeon as well. And I mean, I don't really think I have the nostalgia factor in this taste, but like I can act as if I do have the nostalgia factor. I can be an actress too. I mean, I was more familiar with Nickelodeon, Nick Jr. Why I say Nickelodeon Jr. Nick Jr. Like I was more fixated on Nick Jr. when I was a kid. Like when I was like a really young kid, well, I had a door themed room. And say all you want about Nickelodeon as of right now in the Quiet on Set stage, which paints a bad light for Nickelodeon as just this terrible place for child actors. Like we gotta also know the controversy when it comes to Nickelodeon stars, specifically the child stars. But like when it comes to like just focusing outside of that and more into like the fun and slime based atmosphere, not really much of the feet thing that we don't need to discuss when it comes to that side, the darker side of Nickelodeon. Like let's just focus on the lighthearted stuff where it comes to like people having fun and getting slime, like this green slime cover all over them, and like let's just appreciate the fun atmosphere of like before. I mean, no, I'm not too sure. Before, after, like if you forget the darker side, then you get to see like at least there was like some fun when it comes to making it seem as appealing towards children. Not in that way, not in that kind of way. Oh, how am I supposed to say it without getting attention to the darker side of things? And so when it specifically comes to like one of my stories, the Family Video Movie Club, I specifically said like sort of like a Nickelodeon sitcom kind of setting, kind of atmosphere of a Nickelodeon sitcom similar to iCarly, except without any of the creepy stuff, as you guys all know. Well, in the beginning, it will just seem like get this atmosphere of a fun Nickelodeon sitcom, especially with the main lead character, Charlie, who is just this little kid, who is just this young adult. She is 18 years old inside a little kid's body, similar to SpongeBob. I mean, who knows how old SpongeBob is? I mean, he owns his own house and he has a job, so yeah, he's an adult but he acts like a child. It's like similar to like Charlie. And she gets to have coworkers, or like she's the manager, the new manager of Family Video, the new Revive store based on a real life store in the United States and Canada that got down. What's the word? That got destroyed all because of the pandemic. And how just as this Nickelodeon comedy, the the other main characters, who are the employees that she hired, also have more of these exaggerated traits, with them the exception, with no, only one, actually no, two exceptions, counting like the sweet and compassionate Kewina and intelligent nonverbal Micah. But for the two other characters, such as like Alec, who is like this hyperactive and who's supposed to look like the comedic relief, like this hyperactive, like more hyperactive, where he roller skates anywhere but outside. And then Violet, who is exaggeratedly perfect in every single way, and like if you guys have seen my video where I also talked about Family Video Movie Club, like people barely watch that, so I barely bring it up in the sense. I will place Anna, which is supposed to be Charlie's older sister, with Violet, since she mostly just fits into this atmosphere of being perfect. Like, I'll probably get to more of that in a specific video about that series, not in when I'm supposed to be bringing up SpongeBob. So I could definitely see the colorful and fun atmosphere that Nickelodeon was once known for before it got ruined by just some creepy guys in the productions. And I could definitely see how SpongeBob can appeal to kids on the spectrum. I mean, hello, yellow skin, red tie, boom. I mean, not really his skin, it's just his sponge texture, whatever you call this thing. So yeah, autism color right there. And for our little buddy being on the spectrum, I really have to say that Tom Kenny is such a sweet guy for acknowledging this fact from the start. But like, do I have to? Ironically, I have to say this is not in my place. Ironically, despite me being autistic, I ironically have to say that this is not in my place. Given that, despite the claim of SpongeBob and Nickelodeon as a whole appealing towards neurodiverse children, I personally don't really find the story of SpongeBob in general to be focused on neurodiversity as a whole. I mean, it's not like one of those certain things where you have to make an entire episode on this one kid who only appears once, who is on the spectrum, and the main character needs to learn how to communicate with him that fits to his unique needs, such as how to communicate with him or how to relate with his certain interests or her certain interests. But we guys all know that male is the most popular and prominent features when it comes to neurodiverse characters, which is why I changed empathy into a goal. Actually, not really. Like, he used to be Wise, which is a boy, but I swapped the two, so now Wise is the friend and Empathy is our main lead, who is a girl, since we need more girls representations. But at the same time, it's also really sweet to see, like, I have an autistic toy right now, and I didn't even notice. Like, when I first reacted to this fact, at first I felt kind of strange, since it feels like having, like, it honestly feels like, imagine having this childhood friend who you like to have fun with and you like to laugh with. Like, no matter what, she always makes you laugh, or he or she always makes you laugh, and you never really thought anything different about it. But then in one day where you notice that he or she is autistic, or claims to be autistic, or claims to, like, in this story, like this hypothetical, this theoretical, whatever what I'm trying to come up with story, that she or he is diagnosed with autism, then I will feel like, in this hypothetical story, I will feel really off-putted at first, since like it's like having fun with someone who you didn't know will be anything about the spectrum, and you didn't know that there was really gonna be a chance where it will ever be brought up. Like, you know that you were on the spectrum throughout your entire life, but for this person, you never really knew anything, or you never really heard it be talked about ever. Like, personally, since I have never heard anything about spectrum and neurodiversity to the public, like, hearing Tom Kenny say that Tom is autistic, it's like, at first it was off-putting for me, but then I really admire this sweet guy for, like, telling this neurodiverse kid that it was his power. And I just realized that when playing with this doll, on the back, Steven Hillenburg's signature is on this TY toy. Okay, yep, over here. I just realized this last minute that, okay, focus. Is it focusing? Do I need to like wipe off the camera lens and that? Or just back it up? Okay, I don't think that you'll ever see it, but if you can tell, Steven Hillenburg's signature is on this toy. I didn't realize that. I should have like done this tribute to him, but was I pretty story-less at the time, or did I even have a chance to begin with at the time of his passing? But yeah, Steven Hillenburg's signature is in here, and I am getting off topic. I'll just send a photo of it later on since like this videotape isn't working the way I wanted to. So yeah, I'll just send a photo of it. But once again, even though my parents like to claim me as more on the shyer end of the spectrum, it's nice to see kids like neurodiverse kids look at SpongeBob as just this goofy character who, they can enjoy while saying, is he autistic? Why not? Like, I just love this attitude so much from Tom Kenny. As any kid can just see this, this normal hyperactive guy, normal optimistic hyperactive guy who is just like all cheery and is goofy, and what else am I supposed to say? Who is comedic and has a lot of iconic lines that we can name off, but I don't want the video to go on any longer if I name off every single one of his iconic one-liners. And though I have always been kind of mixed on the whole autistic coding thing as a whole, once I learned from my critical disability studies. The fact that Tom Kenny brings this up in a lighter tone, in a more positive tone than I ever imagined, it made me respect the autistic coding trait better. And even though I won't know what Steven Hillenburg would think of this, personally, I truly respect the guy. I truly respect Tom Kenny. Like, even if he was the voice of him, like, since I know there was more popular roles he done for Adventure Time and the Powerpuff Girls and Cat Dog, does that count? World Gold, that too. Even though I'm probably one of those kids who like grew up on watching SpongeBob, but as I am older, I haven't really caught up with this series anymore, especially when I learn about the new animation style that is more fluid and also the more nostalgia baiting that the newer seasons try to do. It's just, I already knew how amazingly talented Tom Kenny is, with there literally being an entire SpongeBob episode of him just doing impressions of each of the characters. But just Tom Kenny being aware and accepting on neurodiversity is something that I would have never imagined throughout my entire life of knowing SpongeBob and also getting this doll, which is like over 10 years old, as the plus says that it's copyrighted by 2012 Viacom, so that's how old it is. Or probably how old I got into knowing SpongeBob as a kid. Like, I would have never guessed that his voice actor is aware of neurodiversity and autism. I would have never guessed that throughout my entire life. Like, even when I discovered how much of a great guy he is, I would have never thought he'll even know about autism at all. And so, Tom Kenny, if you're watching this, I am really appreciative of you, and I am truly admire of you. And also, I love Hank. Hank deserves a better show. Make a talking no like I'm going off topic. So with all of that said, I love the fun play but just know that we all know that you are an amazing guy, Tom Kenny, and we all love you. And you done good, my guy. You done good. Virtual fist bump. You done good, my guy. Never thought I knew that you were aware of the spectrum, but you done good, my dude. You done good. Another one. And one more for Hank. And so, with all of that said, I hope you enjoyed this video with me and the plushie SpongeBob, who is over a decade old. And goodbye, and basically, like, what else I had to say, but you're my dude, Tom Cannon. And just know that I am one of your fans who loves you eternally. And so, Bye.